Welcome back, Galaxy Brains, the film lover's guide to the galaxy. We're going to continue our Halloween theme for the month of October, and today we're going to talk about the 2011 slasher flick Your Next, which is directed by Adam Wingard. But before we get into all that, Joe, you know what time it is.
So
Yeah,
I'm not
buddy.
gonna. The point of this rant is this. Let's say that costs you like 20 grand a year, okay? And the insurance covers 80. You're like, oh, it's a pretty good deal. Well, no, you have cancer.
What's the worst thing you'll do for $1 million?
Fuck you! Stop fucking dropping oil into the Gulf, you dipshits. Fucking morons.
Apropos of this week, did you fucking hear about the oil spill?
Dude, I know, and right next to you guys, dude.
Yeah. Such
You know.
horseshit. And now they're saying so the Coast Guard's not talking about it. So now Huntington Beach officials are scrambling because they obviously knew it happened while the air show was going on.
So it's one of those things where now it's gonna be kind of off topic, but something like that happens, it fucks up the ecosystem pretty bad. Cleaning it up takes a minute, and given that area is so heavy on surfing and beach life and things like that, it's gonna fuck with a lot of people. But I hope that it gets resolved quickly. Grinding my gears for this week is sort of tying in with what I've been watching this week. It's specifically baking shows, not in the sense that it's like any kind of culinary shows. I have
Don't do it.
I have a
Don't
point
do
for
it.
this. No.
Don't you fucking do it.
I think you'll like it because it's not what you think I'm going to complain about. So I've watched a lot of baking shows. I've watched all the Gordon Ramsay like Kitchen Nightmare stuff. I've watched the Great British Baking Show, whatever it is. A couple of those. So a lot of those were shown to me by friends, and I like them. I like them a lot, and I think they're very entertaining. What I've been watching this week is Matty Matheson. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Amazing.
He's fantastic. He has a YouTube channel where he's making his own cooking channel or cooking show.
Yeah.
Now, the thing
which cooking show is it? He has a few.
It's the one on his YouTube channel. I forgot what it's called, but it's the one that has 2 seasons to it. I'll look it up at another time. But and this is not. I'm saying my complaint is about baking shows, but it's sort of just an overall thing. The reason Matty Matheson's show it doesn't blow up is because it's targeted to a pretty specific audience. He's very. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's a guy that owned a couple restaurants in Canada. He's very, very brash. He's very forward. He cusses a lot. I love him, and he fucks around all the time. He does shit with a lot of other people. He's sort of like if you guys know who Action Bronson is, except minus the rapper, more the cooker. But I think it's interesting that there are shows like that are pretty much targeted to like 18 demographic, like 18 to 35 males, basically, right? Mm-hmm. In my opinion. And then you'll have shows that are on like, HBO that are supposed to be these wide, we want to, present ourselves to, anyone from 18 to 60, show it to anyone. So what I'm trying to say is I think shows, and I'm only using baking shows because I'm talking about Maddie because that's what I watched this week. Any shows that try to appeal to a really, really wide audience tends to get really, really like restrictive on what they can do. They get very, very cute. They get very, very clean. They get rid of all the things that make it interesting. And yes, I understand I am a male in that 18 to 35 demographic, okay? And I get that I shouldn't be complaining about shit that not necessarily might be, targeted towards me. But, I think that a lot of shows that do that kind of thing that have this really wide appeal start to lose their magic, they're lackluster, and they tend not to be as good, in my opinion. So, like, for example, if I were to compare, like, the Great British Bake Off versus Matty Matheson's show, I love Matty Matheson's show more than this. That's what it is. Things like that. So anything like that. So, for example, if we're talking about WWE Raw, like you guys like pro wrestling, right? And that's catered. I would say that's catered mostly towards men, right? So I think the reason it did so well is because it kind of stuck to what it was all the time. Kind of stuck to it. Didn't blow up to the point where we've got to try to appeal to 60-year-old white women or something stupid. And I think that would go terrible. So I would like to see more shows that maybe have a more smaller demographic that can really appeal to them and it'll make it really, really good. And, maybe that's what Squid Games was. I don't know.
Well, you guys shoot, why can't I think of that damn? What's that show with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman? That seems like a show that is very catered to like a specific audience. It's like Making It. My
Yeah.
wife loves that show, but it's like, you know, it's interesting to watch, but it's like unless you're big into like crafting, I'm like I don't. It's not there, but it's like one of those shows that's like very genuine.
The
Can't
show's
do
called
that.
Just a Dash.
Just the dash.
That's Maddie Matheson's YouTube cooking show. And their last, so if you guys are going to watch it, they have 2 seasons on YouTube. Obviously, it's going to be free. Watch the last episode of season 12 where they do a musical on the fly. Fantastic. It's great. Just know what you're getting yourself into if you don't know who Maddie Matheson is. Love the guy.
All right, Jared, what have you been watching this past week?
Boy, I've been watching actually a ton of stuff. Last night I texted a picture to Johnny of what I was watching on my laptop. I was watching the Dodger game, and then on the TV I was watching pro wrestling at the same time. It was great.
Chris Taylor smacked that thing out of
You,
the
you
park.
like that walk off?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
But most of the week I've been watching old surf documentaries from Bruce Brown, like Endless Summer, Endless Summer 2, Slippery When Wet, like all these really cool old surf movies that he made. It's very good. I forgot how funny they were. I forgot how awesome they were. Just how amazing it was from like to film this in like the 60s and like really bring like surfing to the forefront, and like how it was like a niche thing until those movies came out. And what else did I watch? I watched a lot of the Venture Brothers, catching up on that. Oh, I will say on Saturday, I sat down to watch The Many Saints of Newark.
That is what I was about to ask you because I like The Sopranos. I mean, I don't. I'm not in love like a lot of people, but I knew that movie
Oh,
was there. So, what did you think of that movie?
it was like it was like I dropped my fucking gabagool on the floor. That movie was so insane. It was so cringe at the end. I'm going to talk about spoilers right now. So if you don't want to fucking listen to spoilers, fucking fast forward.
Spoiler alert.
The end of that movie has a young Tony Soprano walking up to Dicky Moltisanti's casket, and Dicky's hand comes up and gives him a pinky swear, and the fucking Sopranos theme starts to play over it. And I'm sitting here going, what is fucking happening with this? This is the same guy who decided to cut to black during the series finale of The Sopranos. How is that the same guy who did that? It felt like David Chase wanted to make a Newark race riots movie, but to get it funded, he's like, "Oh, throw the Sopranos name onto it." Like, it was so crazy. It was funny. A lot of the parts were funny, but like, I didn't want to know who killed Dickie. Like, I didn't want to. Like Syl having a hairpiece was really funny. Like that's canonized now. But I just felt it was just kind of like, man, that's what you did. I will say Gandolfini's son, who plays Tony Soprano, young Tony Soprano in this, it was insane. They should give him a series. There were parts in this movie, like with his interactions with his mom, that were so powerful because I do love that series so much. That's the kind of shit I wanted. But it's like, fuck, Joe Barenthal's in another movie for 10 minutes. And then it's like, oh, Ray Liotta plays 2 parts in the movie. And I got to hear Ray Liotta bang out. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. It just was a bummer.
Why is John Bernthal only in like 10-minute segments in some of these movies, man?
I just don't get it. Like,
That seems like a bummer, especially if you are. Now,
you should
let's
watch
say.
it.
let's say if you're not a Sopranos fan or never watched The Sopranos in your entire
I don't know
life.
why. I don't know why you would watch this movie. If you weren't a Sopranos.
Okay.
Honestly, I do not know why the fuck you would watch this movie if you were not a Sopranos fan. Nothing about this movie would appeal to you. Nothing about this movie would be enjoyable to you.
So you gotta like live in that universe.
Yeah, I
to
guess
enjoy
it's
this
just not
movie.
like I wasn't watching it for like a oh fuck yeah, this is gonna be great. I was watching it because like oh fuck yeah, give me more Sopranos straight into my veins. But I didn't get that. I got some like funny like one-liners and like you know funny affectations and like physical mannerisms, and I'm just going like halfway through I'm like wait this is we're halfway through, like what's happening, like this isn't good, like it's not good.
Right.
It just could have been so much better. Hey gabagool, like I didn't even get gabagool. I didn't even get a good gabagool. Fungal, you know, I didn't get any of that. And it's like I don't know. It's made me want to watch the fucking Sopranos again, for better or worse.
So give me a letter grade, A to F.
That's like a C minus, a gentleman's D. You know, it's not an F.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It was just tough. It was a tough watch because it just could have been so much better.
One of the more disappointing things you've watched this year.
Oh, for sure. And I know I tend to not seek out disappointing movies. If it's going to be disappointing or I hear it's disappointing, I won't watch it because I don't want to give it my time because my time is pretty valuable these days. I will say Dune comes out in a few weeks.
Yes, it does.
And I've never been closer to having I haven't felt this excitement for a movie since probably Endgame. You know, like, and not like the oh fuck, I've been with it for so long. It's more of a nervous, like, oh, don't fuck this up, please don't mess this up. You know, I wanna see a second one with spice orgies and worms and fucking prescience and crazy space spice rituals. So all of you can watch it going like, what the fuck? That's what I want, but you know, it doesn't. We can't always get what you want.
I'm planning on watching that on like a like a Wednesday morning, so that I could avoid all of the rush.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that movie. We are going to do a special episode on that, you guys, because it's going to be Jared just telling us everything, and me and Joe are going to be nodding our heads. I'm like, yep, that's what we saw.
So it comes out. Are you? Yeah. Okay. So you got that week comes out on the 22nd. So 2 weeks, maybe. Okay. I'll probably see it on that Sunday, the 24th.
Man, how much of an itch are you not wanting to turn on HBO Max before you see it in the theater?
I won't do it. I mean, it's really no sweat off my back because I've read the book so many times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I know that story. It's not like a what happens?
Yeah.
It's not like when I went to see Endgame by myself instead of with my girlfriend because I wanted to see it so bad in the morning. She's like, well, I want to see it too. I'm like, yeah, but I want to fucking go and nerd out by myself. And she's like, well, fine. I'll go see it too by myself. I'm like, oh, fine, bro. Real dumb.
Funny.
But yeah, I don't know what scary movies you guys looking forward to rewatching or revisiting, I guess.
Well, this year I'm gonna rewatch like at least the first couple Halloween movies because Halloween Kills comes out next week, and I'm
all my students are talking about that. I'm like, you guys watch the worst shit.
I mean, there's always that. Whatever is on TV, I guess Freeform is actually pretty good on putting random Halloween stuff that's out there. I'm trying to find other Halloween movies that is, I don't know. that is representative of Halloween. Doesn't necessarily have to be a horror film, but it's all in the back burner right now because this upcoming when this comes out, No Time to Die is going to come out, and I think I am like Jared's very excited about Dune. I am very excited to see the end of Daniel Craig era and how they're going to end at least
Did
this
they
chapter.
did they announce who might be the next one at all?
No,
Okay.
let Daniel Craig enjoy this moment before they kind of ruin
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but yeah, that's the movie I am very excited for right now. I'm gonna watch that.
That's like been in my head for a week, like that
Is it?
fucking Halloween like piano song. Ugh.
John Carpenter, genius. So I've been rewatching just the Daniel Craig Bonds, and Casino Royale is such a great, like we talked
Yeah.
about it on our episodes, like such a great start. And Quantum of Solace, if I took the action scenes out of it, it's not that bad of a movie. It's just that it isn't also an action movie, and it's just the action is so incomprehensible.
That movie's a
Like,
bad movie.
yeah,
I think it's a bad movie.
I think it's solid for what it is because this is like us not knowing that they're ever going to get Spectre out, and it's like they built it in their own way, which I thought was pretty cool. It's just they just couldn't. I don't know. I think out of the Daniel Craig performances, that might actually be his best in the worst movie out of the four.
That's
Like,
crazy that you would say that, Johnny. Skyfall is so fucking good when he's not sure of himself and like that whole thing of getting his mojo back. It was so fucking good.
Don't get me wrong, Skyfall is great, and his performance
Johnny.
is great in it. But I feel like Quantum of Solace, he was like asked to do other things when it's like, he's trying not to be angry, but you could tell that he is, and he's like trying to move on from this love that betrayed him. Like there's things in Quantum of Solace that I enjoyed. Now, granted, it is like far in the bottom from what it was. Spectre, after rewatching Spectre, I'm not as crazy as to where Joe ranked it. Now, granted, I don't have it at. You had it at 1, right? In your list, Joe?
I don't think he had it at 1.
I don't remember what my height was for that.
Yeah, but with Spectre, like rewatching it, I'm all like, you know what? This is the first Daniel Craig Bond movie where he just happened to just play Bond. Like, there's nothing overreaching that he had to kind of do, no message. So after rewatching, it's fine. That being said, I'm very excited for this Swan Song. The only other thing that I watched was on Netflix. They had the new movie The Guilty. It's with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua. It was a remake from, I think, a Norwegian or Swedish film from a couple of years ago where a cop plays a dispatcher, answers the phone. This was one of the movies my wife wanted to watch during her birthday weekend. She fell asleep through it. I love the movie.
Of course.
What else is new,
course
dude?
that
What
fucking
else is
happens.
new?
I really, really want to watch this. Save it for me. Okay, we'll watch it together. 10 minutes in the movie.
You know what it is?
Sawn logs.
Just don't get comfortable seats anymore. Get them fucking wooden chairs. Put them on top front of the TV. Watch that
right?
shit.
Like, I mean,
with this movie, so if you guys haven't seen, the premise of the movie is that, Jake Gyllenhaal, who, if you say Jake Gyllenhaal in Cop, he hasn't been in a bad movie as a cop. Like, you think this, Prisoners, End of Watch, for some reason,
just can't. I can't, like, rethinking about End of Watch. I just can't get behind that movie. It's a tough look.
It is a tough look, but it's like so good. I mean,
the propaganda behind that movie is like, ooh.
But yeah, so the whole premise of the movie is that Jake Gyllenhaal is a cop that's forced to be a 911 dispatcher, and you hear him kind of walk through this whole thriller just by his face and evoking it. I thought it was really good because Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best actors of our generation, like bar none. Like, you put him in a movie, he's great in it. My wife thought it was boring because all she saw was Jake Gyllenhaal's face the whole time. She thought it was going to be more like Halle Berry's The Call, and I'm all like, that movie was not that good. And she thought I was lying. So, that is that is us at that point. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the stuff that I've watched this past week.
How did boards go?
Yeah.
I tried my best. I put in my best effort. I'll let you know in 6 weeks. That's when the results come out.
Damn, that's a 6-week turnaround for that shit. Oh
It's
man.
Christ.
It's multiple. Okay, here's the thing. It's multiple choice and it's computerized. The fuck takes so long? You know, there's no free response. It's all multiple choice. Like, come on, man. 2021 can't do that shit instantaneously. Someone's making money off this. That's what I'm thinking. Again, yeah, I watched a lot of. I'm still watching Only Murders in This Building. I say this every week just because there's only one episode. It's one of those that still hasn't been released yet. All the way, anyways. It's still very good. I very much like it. I recommend it to everyone. It's on Hulu. And again, Maddie Matheson's cooking show. I just sort of binged that a little bit. I highly recommend it. Sort of going back to what I said before. He's very, very raw. He's very, very. Again, don't get me wrong. Don't think that this guy isn't a chef. He actually has a fucking restaurant, okay? And he ran that for years. He's done a shit ton of things, okay? It's just his YouTube thing's a fairly new thing. Fucking love it.
Joe, he's been on YouTube for years now.
I would say that he did the restaurant thing longer than he did the YouTube thing, which is sort of the point I'm trying to make. Because he ran two restaurants before.
Well, he's running a restaurant. He's running multiple restaurants now. I'm saying he was on Vice for years.
Yes, I remember that.
On, his current Just a Dash is really good. But
that's what he has now.
Yeah. He had some other shows before.
I'm not trying to insinuate he's new at all in the game. He's very, very well versed in a lot of things, but he's fucking awesome. I love him ever since I started watching Action Bronson years ago. Really fun to watch. Those kinds of things. Big fan. Highly suggested. Check it out.
Cool. Unless that actual music is like free use.
But no, it's definitely not. I was just playing it. While Joe was talking, and I'm like, "Fuck, this is intense."
Dude, you get immediately DMCA. There's no way you can afford any of that shit.
Yeah. This is a random. I mean, it's not that random, but like we talked about Halloween. Like I was saying, Halloween Kills comes out next week. Is that theme the most iconic theme in terms of a horror movie?
No.
I would say
bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Are we talking sounds or are we talking music?
Talking specifically, if we think about horror.
I would say the Wilhelm scream is the. It's used
but
in
that's
everything.
not the theme song, man. Come on,
that's why I fucking asked, man.
Jaws is the most iconic horror theme. If we're gonna fucking.
But I feel like that's been used a lot more. Like the Halloween theme's been used a lot more.
See, I think Halloween's the most popular. I think the most iconic is probably The Exorcist. Like when you hear them going into like the house and stuff for the first time, kind of I still get.
Oh yeah,
right.
I just turned it on.
Yeah. Doctor Sleep was solid. It's a solid movie. It's not The Shining, but it's solid.
Dude, it's never going to be The Shining. I mean, I just don't know what it is. Oh, but Shelley Duvall. What's Shelley Duvall been up to?
Nothing, because she has such severe PTSD from that fucking movie.
Really? Wow.
Joe, you don't know how badly they fucked with her on that set?
On what set?
On the set of The Shining.
I thought that she was just a great actress on the show. I don't really know anything.
No, she legitimately, Stanley Kubrick was fucking with her brain the whole time. He was just telling her how terrible of an actress she was. Like he was like playing fucking mind games with her. And like, so when she's like all messed up there, like that's actual like looks of terror and PTSD. Like that poor woman was abused on that set mentally.
But did it make for a really good on-screen performance?
No, because the critics lampooned her, saying that like, "Oh, she's unbelievable."
Oh shit!
Nah, dog. And that played into it too. She's like, "What?" I was genuinely terrified during that movie. I like that movie. It's good.
All right, guys. So for the movie this week, each one of us is gonna pick per week. This week, I picked Adam Wingard's "You're Next." 2011 American slasher where the whole plot of the movie is like there's an estranged family that kind of comes under attack by these groups of masked assassins during a family reunion. That's the basis of the movie. If you guys have seen the posters for these movies back in 2011, it's them wearing like that lamb mask, and it's just like with a knife. It says "Your next." I'll tell you guys in full disclosure, I picked this movie because it's one of the better horror films I've seen in the past 10 years.
Really?
I saw this on a random getaway because it's like me and Chloe were hanging out. And it was like during Halloween season. We're like, oh, you're next. Let's put it on. I knew nothing about it. I've seen the poster, but I never saw a trailer, never saw anything. And I was pleasantly surprised at how good this movie was. Just to give you guys some context, this movie had a $1 million budget, made $30 million. That's actually really damn good for the ROI, right? That we talk about. Joe, you just saw this movie here. What did you think of Your Next?
You really think this is one of the best? Like you're saying, it's top 10 in the last 10 years for horror films.
One of the better movies in the past 10 years.
Does
I
that
never
mean
said top 10. Let's not get crazy.
Does that mean if your list of, let's say, 50 movies, it's in the top 25?
In terms of horror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Jared might be able to name more than 10 horror films. I don't think.
Oh, okay. You haven't
saying?
watched like a whole shit ton. Okay.
I mean, I do, but they're not that great. Like you gotta horror, like we were talking about before. Like there's a lot of whittling out, like you have to do with some of this stuff because they do take chances, and sometimes the chances aren't that great.
So with a movie like this, I like that. Now I don't know if these people necessarily are. They did a bunch of stuff afterwards. I didn't necessarily recognize any of them. But I like that any kind of horror film where they have relatively unknowns, I like it. I think it's mainly because if you put in like a A-list celebrity there, it might overshadow everything else, just in my opinion. What I don't like about this movie is they have the very classic trope of, I hear some shit in the fucking attic. Let me just go up there. Let me just fucking go up there. And I was like, man, this is fucking stupid. And the more I thought about it, I'm thinking, if everyone did the logical thing, there wouldn't be a scary movie, right? So I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let go of people doing some dumbass shit, like things in like Saw, for example, just dumbass shit or something to do it. It is what it is. So I would say for a very good horror film, you'd have to be not frustrated at the characters. Like shit happens, that's fine. But if you intentionally choose to go up to a dark closet in an unknown house when you heard something, your wife's freaking out, it just sort of, it's interesting for me. I thought this movie was fine. I very much liked the way it ended. There's two things I have to say about this as a health professional.
Uh-oh.
One, if you get stabbed, do not take out the thing that stabbed you. You will bleed out. No matter what. That girl that lived at the end, don't even know her name, would have died. Went right through her leg artery, would have bled out in about 5 minutes. That piece of glass was about like 8 inches long. She ain't making it. Okay?
Okay.
2, I thought it was kind of funny that she did this really like Home Alone bullshit traps in the house thing.
That's exactly what I was. God damn, Joe, you're taking it right out of my.
I was thinking, I'm like, what's going on here? It was fun. I understand it's supposed to be like dramatic. For me, I was like, it was just funny. I was like, bring in Macaulay Culkin, bring him in. I think that in terms of that stuff, I don't think anyone wearing a boot will have a nail go directly through that unless they jumped on it, in my opinion. And secondly, I don't think that cop would have died if an axe was swinging like that. I think it would have knocked him out more than anything.
You think so?
I mean, it just having an axe swing like that, I don't think it cleaned. I think the amount of force you got to do to cut through someone's head is quite a lot. Anyways, I like the twist at the end. I like the fact that, at least there's a twist of the people killing his own family. I like that the boyfriend was in on it at the end. I thought it'd be like a cool, interesting twist again if the girl just like, all right, fuck it, I'll just take the money. Let's fucking go. That'd have been a cool twist. I was like, oh, he's gonna stab him. She stabbed him, and it was also another twist that she got shot at the end by the cop, which is sort of unexpected. So it wasn't as predictable as I predicted. It was scary enough. Um, Excessive amounts of nudity for what it is, I guess. I don't know if that necessarily added to the plot per se. And I don't think it was necessary for the older brother to be that big of an asshole. I don't think that really lent to the story as well. Like, I guess because he got hit with the arrow first, I guess the hipster got hit with the arrow first. I'm like, I guess. And then the brother got hit with an arrow. I don't know. So like some of the things like they didn't really have to have in there, but they did. And I don't think it really added to the story. It was just extra shit. But yeah, that's what it is. So, and I don't really need to know about the couple next door. Like I think it was like a sex sell sort of thing in my opinion. So, but overall, it was fine. I think I agree with Johnny's assessment. It was better than I expected, pleasantly surprised. And in the last 10 years, I'll probably roll with you.
Before we get to Jared, I'll tell you like two things that stand out with this movie. One was the lead, the girl that plays Erin. I thought she was absolutely fantastic in this movie. It's like we were talking about horror films and how people are very dumb because yes, you got to go through a movie, and so sometimes they're not making logical choices, and you kind of chalk it up to, well, they're scared, so they're gonna do whatever it is. She though was like ridiculously smart. You're talking about Home Alone and the booby traps. I mean, that kind of like sold a lot for me within this movie. And we were talking about Malignant last week. There's comedy in here, intentional or not, that like it brings levity to some of the things that happen, like when these guys get shot or like how they die.
Sidebar:
Mhm.
I was laying in bed the other night and I went, Malignant. That's why it was named Malignant.
Oh my god!
I was just,
It's a tumor, man.
it's not a tumor, but I was like, oh shit! It was not my proudest moment.
The light bulb went off. But yeah, I mean, like these type of horror movies where there is, like I said, there sometimes when it gets scary, like to have that type of levity, what intentional or not. There was some deaths that I just like crackled up laughing, and I think it's on purpose because Wingard does that a lot with some of his movies. So, but yeah, I was telling you guys earlier, I think in the past 10 years, because it came out 2011, I think it's one of the better horror movies that have come out, just because of, like I said, how inventive, and it's, like I said, hard to make strong leading women sometimes, and they did this movie in spades. But yeah, so we're gonna go to our horror resident expert here, Jared. What did you think of the movie?
Yeah, I'm in line with you guys. I gave it a solid B. I'm just gonna echo what you guys thought. I think the lead was really great. Joe, I agree with you that the ending twists and stuff were really fun, especially the boyfriend being in on it. Like this, man, when you want to watch a slasher movie, you want it to go full slasher, and this was a slasher movie from beginning to end. I don't have too much to add, but I guess I'll spin off this conversation kind of in a different direction. Do you guys, what kind of horror do you prefer? Do you prefer slasher? Do you prefer more psychological or unnerving or anything like that? Like, what really gets you going?
Whatever Hereditary was. If that's like a
God,
unnerving,
what was that?
I don't really know how to categorize that. I would say it's like a unnerving supernatural, I guess, like demonic cult movie.
Mm-hmm.
Slasher flicks are very good sometimes, but a lot of the times the coin flip.
So like Midsummer was a horror movie, right?
That was straight like
It had this like undercurrent of just like,
dread,
oh, get the fuck out, like just
yeah.
absolutely creeping dread. I watched it again recently, buddy. That movie is just a lot. I can understand how you would hate that movie, but like, man, like when those two old people jump off and like you're like, whoa, like that's.
I think it's everyone still should watch it if you're a horror fan
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
how good it is.
yeah.
It's just that you probably need like a nice ray of sunshine after, because of like how sort of dark it is overall. It like makes you moderately depressed at the end of it.
Yeah. It honestly, I think I just got to be in the mood for certain things, but there are certain horror movies that I will watch and they will make me smile every time. Like The Thing. I can't
Yeah.
believe I didn't put The Thing on that top 7, but I did. Beetlejuice is so good because it's funny, and it's when Tim Burton was not trying to be Tim Burton. And like Scream is Scream walked so Cabin in the Woods could run, because it was the original like deconstruction of that movie, of horror movies, and it was the best because it was so self-referential, but it like the Cornetto trilogy, it turned into the movies it was lampooning slash making fun of slash taking the piss out of, or whatever, however you want to say it. It turned into that movie by the end.
Mhm.
Gosh, like and then Scream 4 really brought that back around wholesale. If you haven't watched Scream 4, you should watch it because it is so good. It has the best opening of any Scream movie, even the first one, even the iconic ass first one. I just, damn.
With me, when it comes to horror films, I think they just have to embrace the universe that they're creating. Because if they do, I'll buy into it, no matter what it is, whether it's a slasher, psychological thriller. I mean, think about some of the movies. Like, I get a kick of movies that don't take itself so seriously, even though like they're being very serious. Like You're Next, or like Malignant. Like, you gotta keep in mind, like, it took itself seriously, but it knew it was trying to be campy. Cabin in the Woods, something like that. But then there's other ones like that plays it straight, like It Follows, right? Like those type of movies. There's there.
That movie is like a modern classic.
I also think music is huge in horror films. It really kind of dictates what kind of movie it would become. Because sometimes you don't want to overdo your main theme. There's other times like The Strangers where there's no music at all, and it's like that kind of stuff is unnerving. Or same thing like A Quiet Place, right? There, it's like they use sound against us because you want it to be quiet. You don't want to kind of ruffle your feathers, things like that. So I don't particularly have kind of like a genre. I just think that as long as you embrace it, I'm in for whatever you're trying to tell me, whatever story you're trying to tell me. Jared gave it a B. What did you give it, Joe?
I would probably agree. A B's good. It did more good things than it did bad. So, I would if I would recommend this movie to any horror fan. It probably won't be the best horror film you ever watched, but I think you'll still enjoy it. So B.
Oh yeah, it's a B plus for me. Like I said, I enjoy this film. If for anything else, you guys, if you're watching this movie, um, and you're hesitant because maybe you don't like horror films, things like that, let me tell you, watching it specifically for the main lead is worth it alone. And trust me, some of the kills are actually pretty good. Some of the setups are pretty damn funny to look at. So,
agreed.
all right, you guys. So, we talked about your next. Jared is going to pick our next movie for the next week here. And like I said, I hope you guys are watching the movies with us, taking a look at them. Let us know how we are. So, Joe, where can they find us?
You could find us on Instagram, Twitter at Film Lovers GTTG. It is the month of October, so we're going with a Halloween theme. So if you guys think of any horror films, scary films, unnerving films, crazy films, whatever it may be, let us know. Let us know what your top 7 is. If you agree with us, disagree with us, give us something out of left field. We'd love to hear from you. You can also contact us at filmloverspod@gmail.com. Send us questions, send us comments, send us concerns. We'd love to hear from you.
You can find me tweeting about the Dodgers and other stuff in the next coming weeks. Dune will be a factor heavily into my social media soon. Do not look me up on Instagram because I won't add you. You can email us at filmloverspod at gmail.com. And yeah, tweet me something about horror movies. We love you.
You can find me Twitter, Instagram at JNO11. That's JNGO11. If you guys are listening to us on Good Pods, please give us a subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. Helps us stay on top of the TV film reviews section of that chart. Plus, it gives us a little bit more visibility. Also, when this comes out, both me and Joe will be drafting the all-time best movies for the Culture podcast. So if you guys want to check them out, it's FT Culture Draft. They're on social media, but that episode will probably drop when this drops as well. But yeah, so other than that, we will see you guys next week with Jared's pick of horror film of the week. We'll talk to you guys soon.